Hi, we have discussed a lot of things related to the probability, programming, and a lot of things. But now we will start with the discrete mathematics section. And discrete mathematics, the first thing is the set. But set we all aware of, and in the last lecture, I just shared with you all the reading material with the of the particular set. And if we just have study the basic set also, then we can start working on the other things related to the relations and the function. So now I will start with the relations, like how the what is the relation in set we have already done, and then we will start with the relation, then we see the function and lot of problems related to relation and function. Okay, so before starting the set, just let us study about what we mean by the ordered pair. So ordered pair, just keep the word in the mind and then we'll see what is the ordered pair. Let's say if A is the set and A and B are the two elements that belong to the A. So like A is the set and there can multiple elements, but let's say A, B are the elements of the A. And like specifically we use this particular symbol which is called belong to. So like A belong to A, so it means that this particular symbol is called belong to symbol. Then the ordered pair of elements A and B in A is generated by A comma B. So like ordered pair means there is a bracket, plain bracket, then a comma b. It means that there are two elements. Okay, there are two elements and both are the ordered element. Okay, ordered means a b, this particular a b, there is a order defined, means a b and this particular b is both are the different element. Okay, so ordered pair means that there are two pairs of element and both are ordered. First is called the first coordinate and the second element is called second coordinate. So these are called the ordered pair. So simply ordered pair means there will be two elements. The first one will be the A, second will be B. Obviously, these two are different from the B comma A, and these are called the ordered pair. First is called the first coordinate, and second is called the second coordinate. Okay, and both A comma B and B comma A are different from each other. Now, if we just talk about the ordered pair, then let's just talk about the Cartesian product of two set, and then we'll define the relation. So Cartesian product of two set A and B is a set of all the ordered pair whose first coordinate belongs to A and second coordinate belong to B. It means that there is a A is equal to set and there is a B is equal to set. So A cross B means it will be a ordered pair where the first element will belong to capital set A and the second element will belong to set B. So let's see just the example. So let's say A is equal to your one set 1 comma 2, and let's say the B is your set, let's say A comma B comma C. Okay, so in that case, if you want to find the A cross B, okay, then A cross B is find out by what I told you. Just choose the first element to be the element of A and second element as the element of B. So 1 comma A, then 2 comma A, obviously 1 comma B, then 2 comma B, obviously 1 comma C, then 2 comma C. Okay, so it means that you are trying to find out the taking the first element of A, and then the second element will be the element of B, first element of A, and the second element of B. So we will have all the possible combinations of all those elements, or all those ordered pairs, where the first element is the element of A and the second element is the element of B. So it will not happen that like this particular B comma one, okay, B comma one, it is not the element of A cross B, it is not the element of A cross B. So A cross B means the first element will be belong to set A and second element will belong to set B. Now, if you are trying to find A cross B, then A cross B is actually going to be different than B cross A. So A cross B and B cross A are not the same thing inside the Cartesian product, because in the B cross A, first element will belong to the second element or the set B, and the second element will belong to set A. That's why the set B cross A is different from the A cross B. So you have to keep in mind that the A cross B, the Cartesian product of two particular sets, are not equal. If you are just trying to reverse the order, it means that A cross B is not equal to the B cross A. Now, at this particular point in time, it's clear that A cross B is not equal to B cross A. So this point is clear. Okay. So B cross A means obviously it will be also a set of ordered pair of element where the first element will belong to set B and the first element, second element will belong to set A. If A has P element and B has Q elements, then A cross B has PQ elements. So let's say your set A has three elements. Okay, let's say it's A comma B comma C. Okay, and your set B has two elements. It is 1 comma 2. So in that particular case, it means that if you're trying to find out all the elements in A cross B, okay, all the elements in A cross B, that will be number of elements inside this particular set multiplied by number inside this particular set, which is 3 comma 3 into 2. Okay, so it means that if A has particularly P element in general and B has Q elements in general, then total number of elements in A cross B is P into Q. The total number of elements inside the set will be P cross Q. Okay, Obviously, the next point is if A is equal to some null set and B is also equal to null set, then A cross B is also going to be a null set. So these points you have to keep in mind because these things can be used while solving any particular questions. Obviously, we have different types of properties based on the relation, and obviously the Cartesian product. Then we'll go to the definition of relation. Now, the next thing is that some important theorem ki if you are trying to find out A cross B union C, so let's say there are two other set B union C, and you want to find out A cross B union C. So did that particular formula actually broken down into two parts, which is A cross B, means A cross B, A cross B, and then you have to take the union of A cross C. So these two things are similar. If you are trying to find out the product of A from B union C, then try to find the product A cross B, Cartesian product, then A cross C, and then take the union. Obviously, same goes with the intersection. So let's say you want to find A cross B intersection C. In that case, take A cross B intersection A cross C. So these particular things are the two main theorem of the Cartesian product. Now, let's see some particular example and let's see how we can do this particular thing. So if A and B are the two sets such that A cross B consists of six elements, if there are if three elements of A cross B are given. So let's say कि A cross B has their A and B are two set and A cross B has six element, and the A cross B three element are given to you. So 1 comma 5, 2 comma 3, and 3 comma 5. So what are the remaining elements? So you have to find remaining three element. In that particular case, the just let's now just focus on particular thing. कि A cross B will have first element which is your set where first element will belong to set A or second element will belong to set B. So what this particular thing is, so let's now focus on this particular thing. The first element is 1, 2, 3. So obviously set A will be 1, comma 2, comma 3 because first element will belong to set A and second element will belong to set C. So a second element is 1, 3, comma 5 because you can see that at the second position either you have 3 or 5. So obviously now we can multiply these two set together and we can see that what are all the remaining elements inside the this particular Cartesian product. So obviously, whatever the first element is given, you assume that this particular elements belong to the set A, and the second element actually belong to set B. Obviously, 3, 5, 3. So 5 cannot belong two times. So obviously, there will be 3, comma 5 in the set B. So now, if you just know this particular thing, now you can calculate your product Cartesian product. At this point of time, now we can define the relation. So relation R from a non-empty set A to another non-empty set B is a subset of A cross B. So obviously the two set A cross B, and let's say the both set are non-empty. Obviously for empty set there is something other, but obviously both set are non-empty. Then a relation R, what is the relation R? So just try to find the A cross B and take any subset of A cross B that will be called a relation R on A cross B. So relation, what is relation R? Relation R is nothing but a subset of A cross B. On A cross B are what? A is a non-empty set and B is a another non-empty set. So overall, relation R is a non-empty set to another non-empty set B. So obviously R is a subset of A cross B. We will see some examples like how to define R, but obviously overall, if you're given two set A and a set B, if you want to find a relation, then just try to find the A cross B and then a subset over any subset. Okay, so if A comma B are the elements of relation R, then we have A R B. Like if the let's say A comma B, we just say that this belong to set R. Okay, this is the thing that we want to tell. Like obviously R will have some element of the Cartesian product, so it will be of type ordered pair. So we say that A capital R B. We write this thing and we say that A is related to B. A is related to B. Okay, so this particular thing is related. This particular thing, A or B is related. A is related to B. So some there is something to note, and that particular thing is very important. The thing is that any subset of A cross A is said to be relation on A. Okay, so let's say instead of A cross B, you are trying to find A cross A. So any subset of A cross A means that particular term is termed as relation on A. Means any particular we are trying to find relation on any particular set. So this is called relation on A. Second thing, if A has m element, so let's say your particular set A has m element and your set B has n element. Okay, so total number of element in A cross B will be m into n. Okay, so there will be a set which is A cross B. A cross B is a set which where the total element is m cross n. Now total number of possible subset among the m cross n will be 2 to the power m cross n. So like we have studied in the set that if there are m element in the set, then total number of subset is 2 to the power n. So this particular thing is there. So obviously if there are m into n element in the particular set, then total number of subsets will be 2 to the power m into n. So if R is A cross B, okay. So if R is A cross B and if A has m element and B has n element, then the relation means total number of different relation will be 2 to the power m into n because these are the total number of subset possible. Obviously, if you take any subset of A cross B, that will be going to the your relation on A cross B. That's why we are doing that. If there is any subset, possible subset of A cross B, that will be a relation on A cross B. So there are total number of 2 to the power mn relations, different relation on from A to B. If the next thing is that if a is r is equal to a cross b, okay, then a is termed as domain of r, and this is b is termed as range of r. So this is the particular thing that we actually define. The first set is termed as the domain of r, and the second set is termed as the range of r. So this particular thing you have to keep in mind, and we will use this definition while defining the function later also. Okay, now types of set. So types of relation, like there are kind of different types of relation. So let's see some different types of relation from one set to another set. So there is something called empty relation. So empty relations means a relation R from A to B is called an empty relation. If or a void relation means empty relation is also termed as void relation. Void word you have to keep in mind, and this will be only when R is equal to 5. What is doing when R is equal to 5? Let's say R is an empty set, then that particular term thing will be termed as empty relations. So let's just see an example of empty relations. Empty relations means there will be no element inside the R. So let's say A is equal to 2, comma 4, comma 6. So let's say there is a set A 2, comma 4, comma 6 and set B 7, comma 11. Okay. So we are defining an R to be a relation where A minus B is even. Okay. So A comma B, A belong to A and B belong to B. And we are defining all such pair of A comma B. Obviously, A comma B is going to be the subset of A cross B only. But the property of that particular relation is that A minus B is the even. Okay. A minus B is the even. So obviously, if we just take any two element of R, let's say 2 and 7, if you just find 2 minus 7, that is going to be minus 5, which is not an even number. Or if you do just similarly any calculation between two elements of a comma b, then a minus b is not going to be even any number of times. There will be no such element. So there is no any a comma b such that a minus b is even. This is not possible. So in that particular case, we can say that r is equal to 5, hence it is an empty relation. Okay, so empty relation means, or void relation means, there is no element in the r. Then there is something called universal relation. What is universal relation? A relation R from A to B said to universal relation if R is equal to A cross B. So what did you do? Just you define A cross B and you take whole particular A cross B as your particular relation. So in that particular case, it's termed as the universal relations. So let's say A is equal to let's say 1 comma 2, and let's say B is equal to E F G. Okay. In that particular case, let's say you define R to be the equal to A cross B. So obviously, if you just take all the element of A cross B, that will be termed as universal relation because there are all elements particularly present in the A cross B. So these definitions are pretty simple, and the next thing is identity relation. What is identity relation? Like if there are two elements inside the set, then if the both elements are equal, then we can say that that particular set is the set is the identity relation. So let's say there are a relation R on set is set to identity relation on A if A comma B belong to A and A is equal to B. So obviously, like let's say this is 1 comma 2 comma 3. Okay, and this particular thing, let's say we can define there can be elements such as A cross A. We can define a relation on A cross A. So let's say this particular 1 comma 1, 2 comma 2, 3 comma 3. So if there is element of that this particular type, then this is called identity relation. Okay, so identity relation means A comma B belong to A, then A also belong to A and B also belong to A, and A is equal to B. A is equal to B means both these elements are the same. So in this particular definition, A comma B belong to A. This means that A comma A belong to this particular set. So if there are two common elements which are both equal, then this particular set is termed as identity relation. Then there is something called inverse relation. What is inverse relation? Means it's the reverse of the relation. So let's say you are defining A comma B as the relation from A cross B. Okay, A cross B ka subset. Okay, then R inverse is defined as B comma A. Okay, B comma A means now A cross B. We don't take things from A cross B. We take things from this particular thing will belong from B cross A. Okay, B cross A. So this particular thing is termed as inverse of relation. So if you just see the definition, R is the relation from set A to set B. Then inverse relation of R is denoted by R inverse. We denote the relations or inverse relation by R inverse, and R inverse is equal to B comma A, where A comma B belong to R. So obviously, if like and let's say there is a particular relation R1 from any two particular set 1 comma 2 3 comma 4. Let's say some relation something like this. So if you just want to find R1 inverse in that particular case, what you need to do, just reverse the element. So 2 comma 1, 1 comma 2 means 2 comma 1, and 3 comma 4 means 4 comma 3. So this particular term will now termed as reverse of inverse of relation R1. So whatever the elements was from defined, this relation was defined from A cross B. Now the element will be defined from B cross A. Okay, so these are the inverse relations. Obviously, we have inverse relation, inversal relation, anti-relation, inverse relation, and then we have empty relation. But there are various types of, means other types of relations also. Means any relations, means like if you have the set and you are defining some relations on a particular set A, then that particular relations can be of different types, and let's discuss those different types of relations, which are actually your point of interest, because questions will be based on this particular thing in CMI paper also. Means there may be some relations given, you have to prove that this particular relation is reflexive or transitive or symmetric or equivalent, but we'll see how to do those things. So reflexive relation means a relation R on a set A is said to be reflexive. Okay. So if A comma A belong to R, okay, so it means that, let's say you have a given relation R on set A, and let's say if A comma A belong to R, A comma A means both the elements that are equal, and if all those ordered pairs, such ordered pairs actually belongs to R, then that particular relation will be termed as reflexive relation. Obviously, this should be true for all elements of A. So let's say A is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3. Then, let's say we're defining three relations. The first relation is 1 comma 1, 2 comma 2, 3 comma 3. So we can see that for all elements belong to A, we have A comma A. Means if one is belong to one, then one A to A, then 1 comma 1 is there. If 2 belongs to A, then 2 comma 2 is there. And if 3 means, obviously 3 belongs to A, then 3 comma 3 is there. So all the elements for all A, whatever, means this is a for all symbol. This is called for all. So for all elements of A, obviously this particular things actually belongs to the capital A. Okay. Now there is a this particular R1 is the reflexive relation. Let's say R2. R2 obviously has this particular element and it has some other element also. Okay. So our area of interest is only if particular element one, if there is particular element one in the set, then 1 comma 1 should be there. So like all the elements, we for all the elements 1 comma 2 comma 3, we have that particular 1 comma 1, 2 comma 2, 3 comma 3 there. Obviously there are some other elements, but that is okay, okay, that is okay, that's not the problem. But the thing is that if it should be there, like 1 is there, then 1 comma 1 be there. If 2 is there, then 2 comma 2 should be there. 3 is there, then 3 comma 3 should be there. Okay, so this is also reflexive relation. But if you just put attention on point R3, the relation R3, then you can see that 1 comma 1 is there, 2 comma 2 is there, and some other elements are there, but 3 comma 3 is not there. So obviously I told you this should be true for all the elements in A. So for 3 comma 3 is not there. That's why this particular relation R3 is not reflexive relation. Reflexive means if A belongs to capital, means if A belongs to set, then A comma A belongs to R relation R also. The identity relation is always a reflexive relation. Means obviously identity relation means A comma A. Okay, so means this particular thing we can see that, yeah, identity relations means ki if relation R on set A, set to identity relation if means both the elements are equal. But obviously it means that ki means identity relations are reflexive relation, but a reflexive relation may not be the identity relation. Why? You can see that this particular R2 is the reflexive relation, but it's not identity relation, because 1 comma 2 is there. But obviously in identity relation every element should be common. So this is our identity and reflexive, but this is identity, not identity, but this is reflexive. Okay. So now at this point in time we'll discuss about a symmetric relation. What do you mean a symmetric relation? So like if A comma B belongs to the set, okay, so if A comma B belong to the set, okay, relation, then B comma A should be also in the relation. So this thing you have to keep in mind. If A comma B belongs to relation, then B comma A also belong to the relation. So this particular thing is true in general. So what do you mean? If A comma B belongs to relation, then B comma A also belong to relation. So it means that a relation R on set A is said to be symmetric if A comma B belongs to relation, then B comma A also belong to relation. Okay. Or we can see that if A is related to B, then B should be also related to A. So if A related to B, also implied that B is also related to A, then particular symmetric relation. So let's see example. Okay, 1, 2, 3 is the your set A, then R1 defines a 1 comma 2. So like 1 comma 2 belong to 1 comma 2 belong to R1. So obviously we have 2 comma 1 also belong to R1. So 2 comma 1 also belong to, this is given in the set itself. So this is a transitive relation. So here 1 comma 2 belong to 1, 2 comma 1 also belong to R1. 1 comma 3 is there, then 3 comma 1 is also there. So this particular thing we can see that this is also transitive symmetric relation. But let's see R3. 2 comma 3 there, but 3 comma 2 is not there. So this particular thing is not a symmetric. So every element that belong to the set A, that obviously the other side, the if A comma B belongs to R, then B comma A also belong to R. So this is called a symmetric relation. Now we have anti-symmetric relation. Obviously, anti-symmetric is something opposite of symmetric. So let's say A comma B belong to R and B comma A also belong to R, and this imply A is equal to B. So that particular thing we can say that it is an anti-symmetric relation. So if the means obviously if A comma B belongs to R, okay, and B comma A also belong to R, and this thing actually implies that A is equal to B. So let's say if A is equal to B, this is somewhere anti-symmetric relation. So let's say an example, then it will be clear to you more. So the example is here's a simple example. Just let me erase it. And the example is, let R be a relation on natural number defined by X is divisor of Y. Let's say a natural number are obviously starting from 1, 2, 3 dot dot, and X is divisor of Y, like 2 comma 4. Okay, so 2 comma 4 is there because 2 is a divisor of 4. And then this relation is anti-symmetric as x divides y and y divides x imply x is equal to y. Let's say 2 comma 4 divides y, and let's say we also obviously if x comma y is there, okay, if x comma y is there and y comma x is also there, so why, what does this thing means? It means let's say 2 divides 4, but obviously 4 cannot divide 2, so this element cannot be true. It means 2 divides 2, and obviously if x divides y and y divides x, always implies x is equal to y. So I means to say that if x comma y belong to y, then y comma x also belong to x, and this means that obviously we're talking about the same element again and again. So this particular relation is the anti-symmetric relation. So if x divide y means let's say 2 comma 4 is there. So y divide x, so obviously 4 comma 2 cannot be there. So x divides y and y divides x actually means that we are talking about the same element. Okay, so 2 comma 2, 4 comma 4, 5 comma 5, 9 comma 9. So these type of elements, and obviously if these types of elements are there, this implies that this is an anti-symmetric relation. Okay, so at this point in time, just let's discuss about transitive relation. Okay, so what is a transitive relation? Transitive relation means that if a comma b belong to, if a comma b belong to R, okay, and b comma c also belong to R. So let's say a b c are the three elements of the particular set. Okay, a b c are the three elements of particular set, and if a comma b belongs to R and b comma c also belong to R, then a comma c also belongs to R. So let's say a is related to b and b is related to c, so this should imply that a is related to c. So how it is true? Let's see this particular example. So A is the 1, 2, 3. Then 1, comma 3 belong to uh, uh, 1, comma 3 belong to R, and 3, comma 2 also belong to R. So this is A, B, this is B, C. So this particular element should be same. Now it should imply that we have 1, comma 2 also belong to R, which is there. Okay, so if a comma b belongs to R and b comma c also belongs to R, then if this imply means if a comma c also belong to R, then that particular thing will be the transitives, which is true in this particular case. So there is some other example also, like we have now discussed the reflexive. Okay, reflexive, then symmetric, and then transitive, and then antisymmetric. Okay, reflexive, symmetric, transitive, and antisymmetric. So if three set of three relations together are reflexive, symmetric, and transitive, then those are called equivalence relation. Okay, so we can see that if a relation R on a set A is said to be equivalence relation when R is a reflexive set, Y is a symmetric, and R is a transitive. So if any relation you find which is also reflexive, symmetric, and transitive, then that particular relation will be termed as the equivalence relation. Okay, so let's now just discuss a particular questions on that. Okay, let's say A is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3 and R is equal to A comma B, and it is defined as A divides B and B divides A, so that R is an identity relation. Obviously, like uh, A comma B belongs to A, and A divides B and B divides A. It means that it should be only true when both the elements are same. So 2 comma 2, 3 comma 3. uh, it does not mean that 1 comma 3. Obviously A divides B, but B does not divide A. So all elements will be same, and that's why this is called an identity relation. Obviously this example is a simple example. Now let's talk about some typical example, difficult example, and something where we should apply our thinking. So here the thing is that uh, let's say prove that a relation R defined on set n of natural number. So let's say we are defining defining relation on set natural number, and x r y means x is related to y, and how this particular relation is defined. This is defined by 2x square minus 3xy plus y square should be equal to 0. So for any element x, y, you evaluate this particular thing. Okay, you evaluate this particular thing, this shaded region, and if this particular thing is the 0, then you can say that R is a means x is related to y. Now the thing is that you have to prove that this is not symmetric but reflexive. So means this is not symmetric but this is reflexive. So not symmetric means if a comma b belongs to R, then R a b comma a should not belong to R. So if you just prove this particular thing, you can say that this is not symmetric. And for reflexive, you have to prove that if x comma x belong to R, then that particular thing is a symmetric. So for reflexive, we have to prove that x comma x belong to R. Okay, so how to prove this particular thing? So x comma x means x is related to x, so just we put y put x in the place of y. So if we just put x in place of y, so this is 2x square minus 3x into x plus y square. So this particular thing is going to cancel out, and this is thing going to be 0. So if this thing is going to be 0, it means that x is related to x. Okay, means x comma x belongs to R for any natural number. Okay, we're defining on the natural number. Now for the not symmetric, we have to prove that if a comma b is the any element in the R, let's say x comma y belongs to R, then we need to show that y comma x does not belong to R. And if we just find out any counter example, this is proved. So like in mathematics itself, we want to prove anything, we have to prove in general. But if you want to disprove anything, disprove means this is not, means something not and something none. So this is the disproving. To disprove anything, just find a counter example I need to do. So like to disprove anything in the mathematics, just find a counter example, means find example that can show this thing, and then you are done. But proving, you have to prove in general. Okay, so we have to find a counter example. So let's say we find a counter example. Let's say x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 2. So if you put x is equal to 1, so 2 into 1, and then y is equal to 2 means obviously instead of y you have to put 2. Okay, so x 1 here, y 1, y 2 here. So this is 2 into 1, 3 into 1 into 2 into 2 square. So this is 4 plus 2 6, and this is 6. So this is equal to going to 0. So this implied that 1 is related to 2, means 1 comma 2 belongs to R. But 1 comma 2 belongs to R. Let's say if 2 comma 1 also belong to R or not. So we now check that 2 comma 1, x is equal to 2 and y is equal to 1. Means x is belong to y, then means x comma y belongs to R. It means that y comma also x belongs to R. But this we need to check. How we need to check? Put y is equal to 1, x is equal to 1, just reversing the element, and you find that this is the sum number that is not equal to 0. It implies that 2 comma 1 does not belong to R. Means there are some examples of x comma y which belong to R, but y comma x does not belong to R. So this is why this is not antisymmetric, because we have found a counter example where this particular thing is not true. So this is the way actually you need to do. If you want to prove something, prove in general. If you want to disprove something, find a counter example. Okay. Okay, some other example that let's see, and just then we can just close this session. And the other example is, let's say n is a set of natural number. Okay, so n is a set of natural number, and relation R is defined on n cross n as follows. So we are defining some relation R. So a comma b related to c comma d. So let's say a comma b, and we are defining relation on n cross n. So here you have to put in mind that we are not defining relation on n, but instead we are defining relation on n cross n. So element will be something like a comma b and something like paired element. Obviously this is a paired element, paired ordered pair or Cartesian product. So like a comma b is related to c comma d only when a plus d is equal to b plus c. So like just put up means just keep the attention here कि a comma b related to c comma d only when this particular thing means that a comma d, a plus d, a plus means first element of this set ordered pair, and second element of this particular thing a plus d, and then b plus c for second and first of this particular thing. So first, last, and then last, first. Okay, so this particular thing is there. So prove that R is an equivalence relation. How to prove R is an equivalence relation? You have to prove reflexive, symmetric, and transitive. So first reflexive, we know that we have to prove that a comma b are a comma b. What means that? It means that a comma b is related to itself first. Okay, so how to do that? So let's say a comma b are is equal to a comma b. So this particular thing is defined, a plus d is equal to b plus c. So first element and the last element. So the first element and last element, and then the last element and first element. So this thing is a plus b is equal to b plus a. Obviously this particular thing can be repeated as means written as means this thing is, means this particular thing satisfies the relation because a plus b is equal to b plus a. So R is going to be the reflexive set. Okay, now we have to prove the symmetric. What do you mean symmetric? If a b r c plus d means this particular thing is given, then you have to prove that c d r, CD is also related to A comma B. How to do that? Let's say A, B, R, C, D. What this particular thing means? It means that A plus D is equal to B plus C. And how do we know that? We know that by the say definition of that particular relation. Okay. And now what we do? Just reverse this particular thing. So now here A, D means first element, last element. And now we have to convert into C, D, A, B means the first element and last element. So C plus B is equal to D plus A. So this reverse element, just bring it here. So it is C plus B and D plus A. So just take first element and then this particularly the last element. Okay, so cd and a comma b. So obviously if a comma b are cd, then a cd are a comma b is also there, obviously symmetric. Okay, and now there is transitive relation. Transitive relations, what they mean? If a comma b is related to c comma d and c comma d is related to a comma f, then a comma b should be related to e comma f. And how this thing to be true? This is true if you just prove that a plus f is equal to b plus e. So if you just prove this particular thing, then we consider a comma b is related to c comma e comma f. And how to do that? First of all, just write out what is given. So a comma b or c comma d is given. It means that a plus d is equal to b plus c. So a plus d is equal to b plus c, and here it also given that c comma d is related to e comma f. This means that c plus f is equal to d plus e. So obviously we have written both two things. Now add those two equations simultaneously, because those things are equal. So we can add those two things. A plus d is equal to c plus f, and b plus c is equal to d plus a. We can do those particular things. Obviously, this c and d is going to cancel, and simply a plus f is equal to b plus c, which is exactly equal to first element and the last means the last element here, and the last element, obviously last element and the first element. This is here. So a comma b are e comma f. So this r is the transitive. So it means that r is equivalent relation on n cross n. So obviously, if you want to prove any relations example, then you have to just prove it reflexive, symmetric, and transitive. So okay, so some particular more information. Okay, if r is a reflexive, then r inverse is also reflexive. Inverse, I just told you how to find the inverse. If r is symmetric, then r inverse is also symmetric, and if r is transitive, r inverse is also transitive. So these things you need to also keep in mind. Okay, and the ordered means there is something called ordered relation. So what do you mean by ordered relation? A relation R is called ordered relation if R is the transitive but not an equivalence relation. So let's say if, there is a relation which is transitive, okay, which is transitive, and if maybe it may happen that this is not symmetry, or maybe it happens that it is not identity, sorry, reflexive. So there are three conditions for equivalence: reflexive, okay, and then symmetry, and then transitive. So let's say it is a transitive relation, but it does not satisfy any one of the following conditions. In that case, it is not going to be a equivalence relation. So any relation R is called ordered relation if R is transitive. Obviously, ordered relation, just the name is ordered relation. It's nothing some contextual meaning. So a relation R is called ordered relation if R is transitive but not an equivalence relation. So it may happen as transitive, but it does not satisfy any of the particular condition. So we discussed the basic of relations, and like if you just practice questions exclusively on equivalence relation, you will be able to do those particular things. I mean, there is nothing extra required for the relation part. Just try to practice questions on equivalence relation, like how to prove equivalence relation, how to prove reflexive, symmetric, transitive, for some difficult example, and you will be able to do any particular question. So R.D. Sharma, the book that I suggested you, that particular book is good for to practicing questions on relation. Obviously, no, not more than this particular type of theory will be used in solving the any questions in the CMI also. So thanks for this class, and next class we'll discuss with the function and domain and range of the function, from which a lot of questions are asked. So we'll just start with those particular things. Thanks for this class, and hope to see you in the next one.